Hello, good day everyone. I'm Regeline Takata and my report is all about the lymphatic system. So what is all about lymphatic system? What is lymphatic system? The lymphatic system is a network of tissues and organs that help rid the body of toxins, waste, and other unwanted materials. The primary function of the lymphatic system is to transport lymph, a fluid containing infection-fighting white blood cells throughout the body. The lymphatic system primarily consists of lymphatic vessels, which are similar to the veins and capillaries of the circulatory system. The vessels are connected to lymph nodes where the lymph is filtered. The tonsils, adenoids, spleen, and thymus are all part of the lymphatic system. So these two pictures here are the lymphatic system. So let's go to the functions. So our lymphatic system actually has many functions. Its key functions include: number 1, it maintains fluid levels in your body. As just described, the lymphatic system collects excess fluid that drains from cells and tissue throughout the body and returns it to the bloodstream, which is recirculated through the body. Next, number 2, it absorbs fat from digestive tract. Lymph includes fluids from the intestines that contain fats and proteins and transport it back to the bloodstream. Number 3, protects your body against foreign invaders. The lymphatic system is part of the immune system. It produces and releases lymphocytes or white blood cells and other immune cells that monitors and then destroy the foreign invaders such as bacteria, viruses, parasites, and fungi that enter the body. And lastly, it transports and removes waste products and abnormal cells from the lymph. Lymph is formed when the interstitial fluid is collected through tiny lymph capillaries, which are located throughout the body. It is then transported through lymph vessels to lymph nodes, which clean and filter it. Lymph then flows on the lymphatic ducts before emptying into the right or the left subclavian vein, where it mixes back with blood. Next, what are the parts of the lymphatic system? So the lymphatic system consists of many parts. These include the lymph nodes, lymphatic vessels, and collecting ducts. Number 1 is lymph. Lymph, also called lymphatic fluid, is a collection of extra fluid that drains from cells and tissues that is not reabsorbed into the capillaries plus other substances. And also it derived from tissue fluid, contains more white blood cells than plasma, enters node through afferent lymphatic vessels, and flows through node in one direction. And the functions of lymph is: first, it keeps the body cells moist. It transports oxygen, hormones, and nutrients to different parts of the body and removes metabolic waste from the cells. And it transports antibodies and lymphocytes to the blood. And next is lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are bean-shaped glands that monitor and cleanse the lymph as it filters through them. The nodes filter out the damaged cells and cancer cells. These lymph nodes also produce and store lymphocytes and other immune system cells that attack and destroy bacteria and other harmful substances in the fluid. And its function is: the primary function of this is the filtering of lymph to identify and fight infection. So this is the picture of the lymph nodes. So number 3 is lymph vessels. Lymphatic vessels are the network of capillaries or microvessels and large network of tubes located throughout the body that transport lymph away from tissues. Lymphatic vessels collect and filter lymph at the ends of the nodes as it continues to move toward larger vessels called collecting ducts. And its functions is: lymphatic vessels collect and filter lymph, at the nose as it continues to move toward larger vessels called collecting ducts. So this is lymphatic vessels. So number 4 is collecting ducts. Lymphatic vessels empty the lymph into the right lymphatic duct and left lymphatic duct, or also called the thoracic duct. These ducts connect to the subclavian vein, which returns lymph to the bloodstream. The subclavian vein runs below your collarbone. Functions of collecting ducts: the last part of a long twisting tube that collects urine from the nephrons, cellular structure in the kidney that filter blood and form urine, and moves it into the renal pelvis and ureters, also called renal collecting tubule. Next, the lymphatic system collects excess fluid that drains from cells and tissue throughout the body and returns it to the bloodstream, which is then recirculated through the body. So let's go to the organs of the lymphatic system. It consists of spleen, thymus gland, tonsils, bone marrow, Peyer's patches, and appendix. So what is spleen? The spleen is the largest organ in the lymphatic system. It is an important organ for keeping bodily fluids balanced, but it is possible to live without it. The spleen is located under the rib cage and above the stomach in the left upper quadrant of the abdomen. A spleen is soft and generally looks purple. Functions of spleen is: the spleen acts as a filter. It weeds out old and damaged cells and helps control the amount of blood and blood cells that circulate in the body. The spleen also helps get rid of germs. It contains white blood cells called lymphocytes and macrophage. So this is the picture of the spleen. Next is the thymus gland. The thymus gland is a small organ that lies in the upper chest under the breastbone. It makes white blood cells called lymphocytes, which protect the body against infections. And the functions of the thymus gland is to release thymosin hormone that will stimulate the maturation of T cells. All of our childhood, white blood cells or lymphocytes will come in contact with the thymus gland. This contact will transform them into T cells. This is the thymus gland of adult. And next, the tonsils. Tonsils are lumps of tissue at the back of the throat. There are 2 of them, one on each side, along with the adenoids. Tonsils are part of the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system clears away infection and keeps body fluids in balance. Its functions is: both your tonsils and adenoids help to trap pathogens such as bacteria or viruses that enter your mouth or nose. They contain immune cells that produce antibodies that kill these pathogens before they can spread to the rest of your body. This is the picture of the tonsils. Next is the bone marrow. This is the soft spongy tissue in the center of certain bones such as the hip bone and breastbone. White blood cells, red blood cells, and platelets are made in the bone marrow. There are 2 types of bone marrow. The red bone marrow is involved in production of blood cells, and the white-yellow marrow is important for fat storage. So this is the anatomy of the bone. Next, the Peyer's patches. These are small masses of lymphatic tissue in the mucous membrane that lines your small intestine. These lymphoid cells monitor and destroy bacteria in the intestines. Functions: Peyer's patches is important part of the immune system by monitoring intestinal bacteria populations and preventing the growth of pathogenic bacteria in the intestines. This is the Peyer's patches. Next is appendix. The appendix is a narrow, finger-shaped pouch that projects out from the colon. Your appendix contains lymphoid tissue that can destroy bacteria before it breaches the intestine wall during absorption. Functions: the appendix is designed to protect good bacteria in the gut. That way, when the gut is affected by a bout of diarrhea or other illness that cleanse out the intestines, the good bacteria in the appendix can repopulate the digestive system and keep you healthy. This is the picture of the appendix. So let's go to immune defense versus specific defense system. So what is immune defense system? The immune system is a complex network of cells and proteins that defend the body against infection. The immune system keeps a record of every germ or microbe it has ever defeated so it can recognize and destroy the microbe quickly if it enters the body again. And the specific defense system, sometimes called adaptive immunity, it recognizes and coordinates attacks against specific pathogens. The system can also remember pathogens and produce a powerful response the next time a pathogen enters the body. So there are two types of specific defense. The first one is innate body defense. Innate or non-specific immunity is the defense system with which you were born. It protects you against all antigens. Innate immunity involves barriers that keeps harmful materials from entering your body. These barriers form the first line of defense in the immune response. And the second is the inflammatory response. The inflammatory response or inflammation occurs when tissues are injured by bacteria, trauma, toxins, heat, or any other cause. The damaged cells release chemicals including histamine, bradykinin, and prostaglandins. So example of inflammatory response is a person who had chickenpox or has been immunized against chickenpox is immune from getting chickenpox again. The inflammatory response occurs when the tissues are injured by bacteria, trauma, toxins, heat, or any other causes. So let's go to the active and passive immunity. So active immunity is created by our own immune system when we are exposed to a potential disease-causing agent. Active immunity occurs when our immune system is responsible for protecting us from a pathogen. And the passive immunity is gained in a way other than from one's own immune system, can occur in a few ways and can be life-saving. Occurs when we are protected from a pathogen by immunity gained from someone else. So next is what is antibodies and antigens. Antigens and antibodies, also known as immunoglobulins, are Y-shaped proteins produced by B cells that bind to specific antigens on the surface of foreign objects such as bacteria and viruses. This identifies and tags the foreign object as non-self, signaling other immune cells to attack them. So what are the 3 common and rare diseases in lymphatic system? So the first one is lymphedema. Lymphedema is the chronic pooling of the lymph fluid in the tissue. It usually starts in the feet or lower legs. It's also a side effect of some surgical procedures. So I also include pictures of the disease. The number 2 is lymphocytosis. Lymphocytosis is a condition that often results from your immune system working to fight off an infection or other disease. This is an increase in white blood cells with this condition. Though it cannot be prevented, lymphocytosis can be treated by caring for the underlying cause. So here are the picture of lymphocytosis. Lymphocytes in normal range and lymphocytes above normal range. And lastly, the number 3, the lymphadenitis. Lymphadenitis is an infection of the lymph nodes usually caused by a virus, bacteria, or fungi. Symptoms include redness or swelling around the lymph node. So here is the picture of the example of lymphadenitis disease. So this is all about lymphatic system. So how can you keep your lymphatic system healthy? Here are the healthy tips for you to keep your lymphatic system healthy. First one is avoid exposure to toxic chemicals like those in pesticides or cleaning products. These chemicals can build up in your system and make it harder for your body to filter waste. So next, drink plenty of water to stay hydrated so lymph can easily move throughout the body. And lastly, maintain a healthy lifestyle that includes regular exercise and a healthy diet. So this is the end of my report, and that's all about lymphatic system, and I hope that you have learned from me. Once again, I'm Regeline Takata, and thank you for watching.